Hello, everybody, and welcome to Riftbound Ramblings. I'm your host, Barrett, and today is Monday, specifically June 20th, which means this is a brand new week for reveals and spoilers for the first set of Riftbound Origins. Now, there's going to be one of them missing. Unsure if we're going to get one more spoiler today, but I wanted to go ahead and get the video out for everybody. And that is from Cover Go Blue. Although we think that the reveal that they gave us last Thursday was the one that was supposed to be today with their name on it, since they're not really planned on the schedule anytime going forward anytime soon. But without further ado, let's dive in. The first one we've got is Rune Prison from Game Rant, which is a 2 energy, 1 power spell for the Calm domain that can be played at action timing, and it strictly just says stun a unit, which means it doesn't deal combat damage this turn. Rise spell, kind of cool, which means that we can assume that the first Rise legend coming out in the future will have the Calm domain, which I really like. But this one's pretty straightforward. There's not really a lot for me to talk about this one because it has direct synergy, obviously, for Leona decks and want to doing the stun synergy. But stun is, in my opinion, a really good counter for decks that are trying to do a lot of attacks or re-readying with the same unit. And stun kind of directly shuts it down without it having to worry about having the right removal spell. And for only 2 energy and a power, I think this is going to be pretty clear cut and dry as a good removal spell for Calm. It's sideways removal is the way I should word it. So I did give this one challenger rating. I don't know if it's going to be like the go-to way of getting stun off, as I can think like the Leona champion unit being a lot better for just like continuously applying that pressure. But as an action from your hand as a spell, it works really well, and I think it's gonna be good. Also from Game Rant, we have Last Stand, which is a 3 energy, 1 power spell for the Calm domain, played at action timing, and it just says double a friendly unit's might this turn, but then you give it temporary, which means you have to kill it at the start of its controller's beginning phase before scoring. So I think this card is cool. I like that Poppy's on it. It means Poppy will have the Calm domain in the future. I like a lot of stuff about this card, but I don't really want to dive too much into it, only because like I'm just not a fan of temporary being like a way of costing cards in this game. I think keeping your units on the board, forcing your opponent to remove them, is enough. Whereas if you give your unit temporary, this is really good for winning the game, which means I think it has potential. But it's not very good for holding the battlefields. Yes, you will be able to use this on a unit, but then you're going to lose the unit before you would score the battlefield anyway, so you just used it as a removal spell. There's just other sideways removal spells. And even if you have 2 units at a battlefield, unless one of them has tank and the one that you're using Last Stand on has tank, the person attacking the battlefield is just going to put all of their damage from combat onto the other unit to hopefully kill that one, and then you're going to lose the other unit anyway from the Last Stand effect. I think it has potential, though. Like I said, you can win games with this by trying to conquer all of the battlefields in the same turn. Doubling a unit's might is going to be really powerful in that sense. But for me, it's only going to get diamond just because I just don't know if this one's going to make the cut. Moving on, the last card we got from Game Rant is the Calm Domain Taric Champion unit. He costs 4 energy and a power. He has 4 might. He's a Mount Targon Taric Champion unit, obviously for the Calm Domain. He has Shield, which is nice. He also has Tank, so protecting your other guys. And then also, he gives your other friendly units here Shield. Shield does stack, shield blanket, like the blanket statement like here on Taric, is essentially shield 1, and the way that shield works is that if you have multiple units, or you have a unit with multiple instances of shield, you add them together, because there's some units that have like shield 2 or shield 3. So Taric is pretty good. Like, I mean, he's essentially a 5 might unit, just not when you're attacking. He protects your other stuff on the board, and then protects them even further because he gives them shield. I like this because it's going to be really good just in other Calm decks of being able to keep cards like Sona, Harmonious, and Ari, Alluring, alive. Because Ari is obviously really hard to pull off because you need her to stay alive to score an extra point on the battlefield, but she only has 4 might, and you played her for 5 energy. And Sona, in the same boat, only has 4 might, but you want to keep her alive and on battlefield so that you can keep readying your friendly runes at the end of your turn to play some hand tricks. Now, of course, obviously all of these are champion units. All of them cost a power to play. So is Tarek going to make the final cut in some decks? I don't know if there's going to be better ways to defend your units, but I do like how Tarek is shaped, and I do think he's really good for a stereotypical kind of defending type unit in games. So I went ahead and gave him a challenger. I think he's going to be really good, and I think people will really like playing with him. So can't really ask for much more. Moving on, we have the Chaos Domain Kog'Maw champion unit. This was given to us by Frodan. You can find him on his Twitter, and it costs 3 energy, 1 power, for a 1 might Kog'Maw Void champion unit, obviously for the Chaos Domain, and all he says is Death Knell, so when he dies, he deals 4 to all units at my battlefield. So, as long as this works correctly, and because the cleanup phase for damage in this game is a little weird and wonky, he is a 3 energy unit that trades with a 5 might stuff, but is like asterisk because it trades for more than 5 might. Because he hits everything. Obviously, this is going to be really good against Victor decks or any token generators. Recruits is what we should call them because that's what they are. Um, I don't mind this guy. I just think he's doing very different things for Chaos. It's just really hard because he has to die for it to work, and showdowns and cleaning up on damage is really awkward in showdowns, as opposed to putting damage on units in between cleanup phases when they would happen. So I don't know about this one. I think he's got potential, though. I think there's a world where this kind of guy goes forward. Obviously, this is our first time seeing Kog'Maw, so we know that hopefully a Kog'Maw legend in the future will have chaos on him. And if he's doing kind of similar stuff and getting some extra damage on the units, I think it's really cool. But this also being only 1 might means he's really susceptible to removal. It's gonna be a little rough. It's gonna be a little rough. Moving on, we've got Primal Strength, and this was given to us by the official Play Riftbound Twitter and their social media pages. So from Riftbound themselves, a 4 energy, 1 power spell for the body domain, played at action timing, and it says give a unit +7 might this turn. And I had to be a little nicer, I think, about these cards because I think these are essentially the same as like removal spells, just for different reasons, right? It means this one spell says your 1 unit could potentially kill multiple units at a battlefield because +7 might is a lot. It costs you a power, it costs you 4 energy to do this. Obviously, I think it's good, but I just don't think it's like incredibly good. So I gave it a diamond rating because I'm essentially just viewing this as like another removal spell type of effect. And I mean, we know that Gnar will have the body domain at some point. It'll be really interesting to see how they do Gnar because Gnar shifts between forms, and I wonder if they would have like a legend that would do that kind of same sense. But this one being able to buff up anything does feel pretty good. And then lastly today, we have my favorite card that they have shown off, I think, in all of the reveals. We have the Order Domain Fiora Champion unit, again given to us by the official Riftbound Twitter page. For 4 energy, no power cost, that's important. You get a 4 might Fiora Demacia Champion unit for the Order Domain that says, while I am mighty, I have deflect, ganking, and shield. Mighty means that it must have 5 might, which means we need to find a way essentially to put a buff on this. And then it gains deflect, which it doesn't say here, but it means if your opponent wants to choose this for any of their effects, they have to pay a power, which is really good. It gains shield, which essentially puts it up to 6 might, and ganking, which means it can keep going from battlefield to battlefield instead of having to go back to your base first. I don't think I need to say much more to know that this card is going to be challenger level, but I did want to talk about some interactions on why I think this card's going to be incredible. First of all, it's a champion unit that doesn't cost any power to play, and we haven't seen that yet. Champion units are typically pretty good in their effects as this one is, and because this one doesn't cost a power and then gains deflect when you pull off the thing that you need to do with it, your opponent is going to essentially almost always have to spend power to get rid of your Fiora that you did not spend power for, which is a crazy swing in tempo. Additionally, it has ganking, it has shield, so it actually goes up to 6 might if they try to attack into it. And that's not even just saying all the other things that you can do with this card, of course. I put Fiora next to On Guard and Radiant Dawn because we've already seen On Guard, which obviously has Fiora on it. It obviously works incredibly well with Fiora. This is just a temporary give +1 might effect this turn. This is not a buff. And then you can give it an additional might if it's the only unit that you control here. For only 1 energy, again, no power cost, going to be very good when you synergize it with Fiora because it's obviously herself. But that means you have to play it in a Leona deck. But wait a minute. Leona is a character that can buff your units as long as you start stunning the enemy units, which means your Fiora will be live and ready to go without even needing to play things like On Guard, which is really good. Additionally, we could find other ways to buffer, like in the body domain mixed with order. Set is all about putting buffs on units. I put Showstopper here specifically. There's other ways to do it, obviously, but Showstopper looks really cool. And if the power you're going to use is just a Showstopper immediately the same turn that you played Fiora, it's as if you played Fiora for the power that she would have normally cost compared to other champion units, and then you immediately get to move her onto a battlefield, and she has Deflect, and she has ganking for later. And when they attack back into her, she has shield, so she actually has 6 power. Oh, and then by the way, because you buffed her, if she does die, you have Set's ability that says you can pay another power and bring her back. That's pretty good, guys. It's just pretty good. Oh, and you can just put Darius in any order deck to go with Fiora, and as long as you're attacking together with Darius, Darius will always make Fiora live for the deflect, the ganking, and the shield. And of course, Darius, this specific one, says Legion, which means it can attack right away. So you can play Fiora on 1 turn when you have 4 energy. You didn't spend any power, so you the next turn you'll go to 6 energy, which means you're allowed to play Darius. And if you found a way to play something for free, not that you did, but eventually you can play the Legion ability on these Dariuses, and you can have them go together with Fiora. So yeah, pretty easily giving challenger rating. This might be my favorite card that they've shown so far, and I already love the order domain, and this is another reason to play it. But that's going to be it for today, everybody. I hope you liked the video, and if you do, give the video a like, comment down below, subscribe to the channel so you know whenever I post more stuff. And we should have more reveals and spoilers on Wednesday this week. But if it's anything like last week, we might get some more sprinklings on Tuesday or Thursday. And if there are, of course, I will be here and back ready for another video. But for now, you guys have a great one. We'll see you next one.